Good evening. I would like to call the meeting to order. Welcome to the Housing Commission's November 5th, 2025 regular Housing Commission meeting. This is a hybrid meeting with the Housing Commission members, city staff, and members of the public participating in the Oak Conference Room via Zoom. And the meeting is called to order at 6:30 p.m. I'd like to introduce staff and some housing commissioners present for roll call. We have our housing manager, Tim Wong, management analyst, Ariana Milton, and senior planner, Chris Turner with us this evening. And as for commissioners, Vice Chair Beely, Commissioner Chapa, present, Commissioner Dumont,
Here.
Commissioner Cranen is absent. If he comes in the meeting, we'll note his time. Commissioner Horsler here. Chair Schweitzer is present, and we'll go back on the list. Commissioner Cranen here. Yeah. All right. And Commissioner Wong here. All right. Well, Ariana, will you please provide some instructions to the Housing Commission and members of the public on how the meeting will proceed?
Sure. Thank you, Chair Schweitzer, members of the Housing Commission. Welcome everyone to the November 5th regular meeting of the Housing Commission, and thank you for attending. Staff will engage cameras and microphones to make presentations and respond to the members of the Housing Commission. For members of the public who are in attendance and wish to provide public comments on an item on tonight's agenda, after the chair calls for public comment on the item you wish to speak on, please engage the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen for virtual participants. For those who are calling in from a landline or cell phone, please press *9. And for those in person, please complete a speaker card and bring it to me directly. That concludes the instructions, and I return the meeting to the chair.
All right, well, on to public comment. Under public comment, the public may address the Housing Commission on any subject that's not listed on the agenda. Each speaker may address the commission once under public comment for a limit of 3 minutes. You're not required to provide your name or city of residence, but it is helpful. The Housing Commission cannot act on items not listed on the agenda, and therefore the Housing Commission cannot respond to non-agenda issues brought up during this public comment period, other than to provide some general information. And with that, do we have any public comment?
Nope, there's no public comments at this time.
All right, well, moving along to some regular business. Under regular business, the Housing Commission receives informational presentations in addition to considering policy matters and administrative actions. And for our first item, D1 is to approve the Housing Commission meeting minutes from the October 1st, 2025 meeting. And before we get started, I'll open this item up for public comment. And don't see any in the room, but.
No, do not have any public comment online or in the room.
All right, so this item is open for Housing Commission clarifying questions, discussions. Perhaps someone noticed some typos, grammatical errors.
Please tell me.
Yeah, that would be the time to bring it up.
I didn't notice any.
Okay. Well, with that, I could entertain a motion.
I'll motion to accept the minutes. Or approve the minutes.
I'll start. Perfect.
Perfect. Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Osler and a second by Commissioner Dumont to approve the Housing Commission meeting minutes for October 1st, 2025. I will now do a roll call vote. Vice Chair Beely.
Present. I'm sorry, yes.
Commissioner Chapa.
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Dumont.
Yes.
Commissioner Cranen.
Yes.
Commissioner Osler.
Yes.
Chair Schweitzer.
Yes.
And Commissioner Wong.
Yes.
All right, the motion passes 7-0.
All right, well, on to D2. So this is to consider and make a recommendation to City Council on proposed revisions to the below market rate housing program guidelines. Excuse me, I misspoke on that one. did that last time, so just been reading the minutes. Did D2, so this is for a recommendation on the below market rate housing agreement for 68 Willow Owners LLC for a 50-unit housing development project at 68 Willow Road. And with us tonight, we have Senior Planner Chris Turner to make a presentation.
Good evening, Mayor Schweitzer and Housing Commission. So we'll be discussing the 68 Willow draft PMR agreement. Next slide. Just some quick orientation. The project is located in the C1 zoning district, which is the administrative and professional district restrictive, which was amended as part of the housing element to allow for housing where previously only commercial uses allowed. And it's at the intersection of Willow Place and Willow Road. Some of the surrounding properties are also in the C1 district with some R3 and R3X properties across the street. Across Willow Road, and then on the other side of San Francisco Creek is City of Palo Alto. So the project, next slide. The proposed project would be 8 new townhouse buildings, totaling 50 new townhouse units and on-site improvements like open space, landscaping, roadway infrastructure, play structure amenities. And the project includes a major subdivision, which would subdivide the property into individual units that can be sold separately. Slide. As far as the BMR requirements go, they are required to provide 15% of the units as BMR units, which results in 7.5 units required to meet the BMR's city's BMR requirements. Fractional units can be provided either as an additional full unit on site or the proportional amount to be paid in as an in lieu fee. And then the BMR units are required to be indistinguishable from market rate units. And in this case, they're just built into the to each townhouse building. So you can't really tell the difference between the market rate and the BMR units. Slide. Applicant's BMR proposal and the agreement would restrict 8 of the units to be sold at below market rates. So the 8th on-site BMR unit satisfies the fractional unit requirement. It indicates that the units are to be sold to eligible households with a moderate income, which is up to 100%, 120% AMI. And then details how the price is determined and establishes the affordability term of 55 years. Staff has reviewed the applicant's proposal and the agreement and determined that it meets all the BMR requirements of the ordinance and the guidelines. And with that, we are recommending that the Housing Commission recommend approval of the draft BMR agreement to the Planning Commission. With that, I can take any questions. We also have the applicant online to take any questions.
You could just put up the site map, just to show them where the BMR units will be designated.
That'd be great.
Yeah, so each building would have one BMR unit, so they're spread throughout the development. There's 5 different unit types in the development, and at least one of each unit type would be represented by a BMR unit.
Are they marked in some way that we can see, or is it? Yeah.
It's a little bit small
Okay.
on this.
So
it's in the back. Yeah.
And they're in each building and as they spread out. Location proximity within each building, they're just random.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Right, I don't know if I'm allowed to, but this is copy what's on screen for Commissioner.
And you said the applicant has a presentation or just available for questions?
Available for questions.
Okay. Well, with that, I will unless there's a question for staff, I was gonna open up for public comment and then we can come back for discussion.
I was gonna ask a staff question, but I guess we down the way for public comment.
Okay. We can open things up for public comment on this item.
No, there's no public comments online or in person at this time.
Right, back to the commission discussion and questions.
So I have one question for staff. It's really, I mean, when I first saw this, it's like a really great development. But well, just the general question, that didn't quite get answered in the report is, I mean, I'm assuming that the actual BMR agreement complies with kind of the blanket requirements of all of the Menlo Park requirements, right?
Correct, yeah. Tim and our city attorney's office worked through the agreement, also worked with the applicant's attorney. To agree on some of the terms, so yeah, the agreement itself complies with city's requirements.
I have two questions, but I'll go one at a time. I guess my first one is both for staff and the developer. I thought it was really great to see rounding up.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask about, I guess, what led the developer to do that? What incentives we might be able to offer, or like what, just as we think about future projects like this that might choose to take a different path, what could we do to encourage them to provide as much below market rate housing as possible?
My first defer to the applicant from that one.
I mean, I think, so we're local developers, we live in the area, you know, and so we always want to do what's right for the community. We also want to make sure that the project pencils for us, because if we can't get the right financing in place, right, it's not gonna actually come to fruition. So it's always that balance of like, you know, trying to do your part, but also, you know, making sure you hit your bottom line. And in this situation, we just felt it was easier because that half unit just go up to the 8. It's better for the community. We've been in here forever. We want to show the city that we're a good partner. And so that was kind of the decision to go to the 8. It's kind of hard to figure out, like everybody's gonna have a different like bottom line or what they need to say. So I don't know how another developer might see it, but a half unit wasn't gonna make our project not pencil, especially with everything else. So, you know, and I'm sure there'll be some other issue where maybe we're gonna fight the city like a little bit and say, hey, we really can't do this. Can you help us out here? Right. So it's like, hey, this is one small thing we can do to make it better. And then hopefully it's just a great project that everybody can be proud of.
Thank you. I'll pass it off if anyone else has a question before.
So I have 2 questions. The first one is sort of environmental review and how does that process take place? I noticed it says here it's being evaluated with respect to compliance with California Environmental Quality Act. Just kind of curious about that process and kind of the impact on the environment. Secondly, just curious on sort of the timeline for this project. How long is it going to be until we see these buildings?
Yeah, it's a good question. So every discretionary project has to go through environmental review, SEQA review. In this case, it says that in the staff report because the Housing Commission's action is a recommendation and not taking final action like the Planning Commission. So that's why this action is not a SEQA action. But currently we are in the SEQA review process. We have contracted with a consultant who's helping to review technical documents. So they have like a biological resource assessment, air quality assessment, we're doing a traffic impact analysis, those sorts of things. And then from that, we assess the level of SEQA review that's necessary. So there's exemptions to where if the project qualifies for an exemption, you don't have to do any more secret review. If it doesn't qualify for an exemption, then it goes into deeper analysis. You can do like an initial study and a mitigated negative declaration, or full out one EIR, which that process takes some time. Right now, we're slated to finish the secret review in December. We're anticipating that it's gonna qualify for a categorical exemption. So assuming that the consultant comes back with that determination, that'll be the end of it, and then we can move on to planning commission hearing. And then the planning commission will make that actual determination that the project is exempt from CEQA, and then they'll take action on the project, assuming that exemption holds. If it doesn't, then we go to further review, and then again, planning commission will make the determination if it's like a mitigated negative declaration, then they would have to certify that. So that process is ongoing.
Just to kind of go on what Chris mentioned, like it, that's kind of like the first hurdle to cross, right? And then once planning commission approves, then you're kind of considered that you're entitled essentially. And then the next step is also then you have to do all your drawings to submit for building permit. So it's going to be probably maybe 1 to 2 years before we can even break ground. So it might be a little bit. But we're diligent. We stay on top of the city to make sure we're turning in all the documents that they need so they can continue their review as quickly as they can, because we understand it is a process.
Thank you for educating me on all that. That's super helpful.
Sorry, I jumped the gun. I
No, you're fine.
asking questions earlier, but yeah, my question is, you're say you're a local developer, so this is not your first. What was the last one and where was it?
So we've done a lot of commercial projects. So this is actually our first townhome development. We built the
Okay.
building in San Carlos at 1091 Industrial Road. It's a life science project. It's 3 stories of life science with 2 levels of underground parking. So that was that we did that project. We've also have developed another building in Redwood City called 1180 Main Street. Similar concept. It was 3 stories of office space and then two levels of underground parking. So so we haven't done too many. This would be our 4th project and development, but there's 2 in Redwood City, 1 in San Carlos, and then this one in Menlo Park.
So it's, seems, I don't know. So it's unusual, maybe we're talking about affordable homes in being available to buy as opposed to being just renting. So I think that's a good thing. People keep making up for them. I guess I had a question, like, this is also self-education, sorry, but, and not what we're signing off on, but, just, who, like, why only 3 stories, why only 50 units? Is it, the limitation of, how many units per acre, or is this
The zoning plays a big role, like how can you build, you want to build a good product, right? So something that someone will buy. So then you work with an architect to kind of figure out, okay, these are all the zoning requirements, this is how much you can build. And so we're trying to maximize how much we can build with the quality of units that we are getting. So yeah, we are trying to maximize it. So that is the max number of units that we can build on the site. We don't want to make the units too small. We don't want to go to 4 stories because most homeowners don't want a 4-story townhome. So it's all about what you can sell afterward, and then how do you, working with your architects and consultants, how do you maximize it?
Would add one more question. So when you say townhomes, these are vertically sliced, so there'd be 3 levels in every unit or something like that?
Right. So usually your first level, you have parking with like maybe your washer dryer. Some might have an office on that ground level. And then your second story would have like your kitchen, bathroom, living area, right? Kind of like where you would host people. And then the third level would have the bedrooms. And so every townhome would have those 3 floors. That kind of setup, but they're.
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Right. So I didn't, that, like, they're all 3 stories, but like Chris was mentioning, the buildings all have different unit types, so the configuration exactly is the same. It's not like, you know, every single unit looks exactly the same. There are slight configurations, and a lot of that had to do with like, how do we maximize the number of units we can get that still make good quality products. So the bedrooms have to be a good size, the living room, kitchen, right? They will have to be a good size.
Yeah, it seems like a really good like missing middle project. And just curious if there are plans to build any more similar in Menlo Park or the surrounding areas.
I mean, if we can find the land, for sure. Finding land where you can build is the hardest part. Yeah.
Right.
Birding, commercial, makes sense. I mean, the sizes are. They're big. I mean, these are big units and a lot of bedrooms. But that probably makes them more,
Yeah.
I don't know, desirable. Like, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to just echo some of my fellow commissioners' comments. I definitely appreciated kind of rounding up for that, you know, that half of a unit that you guys would not be required to provide. I think it's especially beneficial to the community in this context because it's for a for sale project rather than a rental project. I think probably, and oftentimes it's easier perhaps to just pay that, you know, in lieu fee for that fraction of a unit rather than kind of extending that to a full unit at the below market rate. And I was curious about the timeline, so thank you for kind of indicating that. So it's probably slated, barring, you know, our recommendation at the Housing Commission, going to the PTC and whatever comes of the sequel, probably in the early new year, at the Planning Commission. I did have one question, and perhaps a comment. I know one is a little out of our purview, but I just wanted to highlight it. I guess I'll start with that one since I kind of framed it. Is I noticed in the staff report, there was the reference to the 23 heritage trees that would be slated to be removed, and I presume, you know, the environmental analysis will evaluate that and whatever comes of that. But I just was thinking perhaps once it gets to the Planning Commission stage that there might be some questions about either, you know, reorganization of the site, maybe if there's any way to protect or retain some of those trees. Just trying to kind of think ahead, maybe in that context. It seems like definitely looking at the site plan that was provided, you guys are maximizing kind of the floor space available and adhering to the zoning requirements, but that was just a thought of, or potential, perhaps maybe some trees could be retained in some regard. But the other item is about with the townhome project, it kind of doesn't consider accessibility in some contexts, just of the 3 stories. So I was just curious about maybe the thought process if any of these units, or if one of the units perhaps could have had some either modifications or what that might have kind of translated in the overall scheme. I could see the footprint of a 1-story structure taking up potentially, you know, 1 or 2, perhaps 3 of the units, just because of, you know, stacking the floors on top of each other. But I just kind of wanted to bring that up and kind of understand if that was kind of considered in the process.
Yeah, I can approach the tree question first. We all love trees, and they are big and beautiful. It just, the site is constrained by what it is, and in order to maximize the number of units we can get, we have to remove the trees. We did try as hard as we could to save as many as we could, but the 23 in the total is what we need to make this project viable. If there was a way to save them, we 100% would. It's just, you would sacrifice units or buildings. You wouldn't be able to build the eight buildings. You'd have to go down to 7 or something like that. So we
Right.
try to be as efficient as possible to make that happen. With regards to accessibility, the 3 stories they're very there's a lot of them out there. So when you work with a lot of housing developers, contractors, right, they know how to do the 3 stories and it works and folks like them, they buy them. We'd have to probably look into a little bit further, like what else can we do? Cause you can't, it'd be impossible to put like 1 unit all on the first level. Cause then how would you get someone onto that second floor? It would totally change the way the building works, and then you probably don't get that same number of units. There's no way. And so instead of having like 7 units in one building, you might end up with like 3, which I don't think helps anybody, right? Because getting 50 is like that golden number, that like minimum number that really makes the project work from a developer standpoint. People are interested, you get competitive bids on everything, so that's a good number, and that's what we're striving to get with the constraints we have in the land.
Thank you for that. And yeah, totally understand that, you know, it's a little out of our purview mentioning some of the trees, but I just.
We
saw
did
that, I was like,
try, we did try.
Yeah, I was like, that might be an interesting conversation when you get to the planning commission, but.
Yeah, we were asked to post notices already, and so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get phone calls real soon.
Yes, yeah, but it actually is a very thoughtful comment, and you know, as it does eliminate like families that have parents living with them, and you know, it's like, it's gonna be a very, it does kind of, it does raise questions about, you know, seniors being able to, you know, go through senior units and things like that. It does really, you know, appreciate that thought.
I can definitely go back to our design team, see if they have any suggestions or ways that they've, you know, done something. Maybe one of the units we can do some, I don't know what yet. But it's definitely something that can go back to our design team and say, this is what the commission said. What can we do, if anything? Is there something out there that no one's thought of yet?
I mean, I think it definitely advances the city's goals. I mean, more housing faster, it's a win for a lot of people, but just trying to maybe keep that in consideration, chairlift or something. But I did notice on the site plan, you know, there is a bedroom on the first floor, so it's say like a total garage space. And something that's not utilized, so there could be some potential for that, so. That was more of a comment, not a question, sorry.
I guess this is based on a public comment we got last time we had something like this come before us, and I've tried and I think failed to frame this as a welcome question, so I guess I'm just interested in hearing your thoughts as a developer. We got a comment last time, and I think it's a frequent comment whenever we're reviewing one of these, to my understanding, that, you know, why isn't there more BMR housing? And I think the basic answer is it doesn't pencil to do that instead of market rate, and that makes perfect sense. But I will, I guess, paraphrase the comment we got and ask, are there incentives the city could have offered that would have pushed the percentage up? What are your thoughts about kind of just, I know numbers are hard, but what's the marginal cost to doing one of these units, and what kind of incentives would have to be offered to move the needle?
That's a great question. It is hard. Like, there's so many numbers that go into it. You have your hard costs, your soft costs, you have all your city fees. We would have to, which I don't know off the top of my head, we had to figure out, like, what does it cost to build 1 unit, right? What is that total all-in cost? So if we take our total cost in, divided by 50, what is that number? And then essentially the city, if the city had there's a way to get incentivized to do that, like maybe your permit fees, instead of being X, they're Y, and that difference is the delta to build 1 unit. That could be one potential way we can help mitigate it. But yeah, it all comes down to, like, you have to be profitable, and it's not like it's just like, oh, I'm the loan developer and I get all this money. No, it's not. Like, there's a team, right? And there's an investor group behind each building, and so you have to the proceeds go to your investor group. And so there's just a lot of people, a lot of things. So it's not, you just have to make sure that you can get a profit, essentially,
Yeah.
make it viable.
Yeah, in your estimation, for example, are the city fees comparable to the marginal cost of a unit on a project like this, or would you suspect they're much lower or much higher than 1 unit's cost?
They're probably a lot lower.
Okay.
In my commercial world experience, I think we got close to like almost like $1 million in fees when all was said and done for that one particular city. And while that's a lot of money, it's not the same cost as even building out a floor or building out a basement for parking. It doesn't even get you like a suite essentially to build out a suite within that building. So yeah, it's expensive to build. Rates keep going up, contractors. There's always, it's constantly moving. So you're constantly checking your budget that say, hey, okay, are we still in line with what we projected? Right. Because you start this project now, but it's probably going to be like 3 or 4 years before you actually start paying out your contractor. But so are those prices going to stay steady? Sometimes they do, a lot of times they don't. So it's just a constant. So you just want to have a nice buffer to make sure that, hey, if something happens along the project, you're still in a position to build it. And so that's where it gets kind of hard, like to do another BMR unit. Sometimes that's all it is, like that's the profit right there that makes everybody like, okay, it's sweet, that's our buffer.
Yeah, sure, that makes perfect sense. If nobody else, oh, go ahead.
So I guess, Mr. Chair's comment with ADA considerations, made me think of terminology I've come across in designing, homes recently. I don't know if your firm takes that into mind. I've heard a term, referred to as multi-generational designing, where you design for several generations to buy the townhouse. And including so that your parents don't go to home, right? So maybe that if it's not a term you've come across, something to consider.
No, definitely, I can take it back. I think we might have talked about it, and then maybe that alluded to why instead of having an office in the first floor, maybe you do put a bedroom. You can put, mom and dad there or the grandparents there, and also that gives them a little bit of privacy if they don't want to deal with the kids screaming upstairs, right? So yeah, I can definitely go back and talk to the design team, see how can we figure out, a slightly better design, keeping the footprint the same so that doesn't change. But is there something we can do inside to kind of make it to appeal to more people, both multi-generationally and also ADA?
Thank you for that. That's appreciated.
I have a question, but I don't quite know who it's for. So when we cut down the trees, is there any way we can actually use that wood?
I will say we're starting to get.
Yeah.
It's a good question,
Yeah.
and you wanna make it a sustainable project, however, it's a little out of the purview.
How do you take a tree and make it like lumber, right? I'm sure there's a landscape architect out there or a landscape person that will be able to answer that for us.
Okay.
I mean, wouldn't it be cool if we could like cut these down and that's actually the lumber we use? That would be good. That would be a story to tell. Is it actually possible? I don't know.
Or the city could use it for a park, I don't know.
Yeah, just I guess for some historical context, if it's okay. If you've seen those chairs or benches by the
Yes,
library.
the owl,
Yeah, that came from sort of a particularly contentious heritage tree removal project. So as part of that process, the developer agreed to give the trunks to the city to create those benches. So I don't think there's anything stopping the developer from really doing anything with it. But it's up to them really.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we're open to ideas. Yeah, I don't know that we've explored what we're gonna do once they get torn down, but because that's gonna be a ways away. But yeah, well, we're open to thinking of ideas, being creative, things that are simple, that don't cost a lot of money, right? Like, hey, is it just donating it to another organization that can rebuild it and reuse it in some fashion like that? That's, something that I think as a developer, as a local developer, we appreciate, right? Because we live here, we want the local community to also have something really nice in return. Like the city gave us this nice project to build. Hey, we're happy to do something nice as well. It's just, is that really feasible? Is that how it works, right? Can you do that? Like we have to research that a little bit, but we'd be open to it for sure.
Yeah,
As far as-
thank you for entertaining.
As far as the requirement goes, like, we don't have anything in that HDR ordinance, so like, it's not something we could probably make them do. Sure, just keep that in mind.
I have one more general interest question, so you mentioned there potentially is a CEQA exemption, is it really, I mean, would it be coming from the new laws this year, the 31, SB 31, AB 30? Or
Maybe one.
which got rolled into something else,
It's not,
less than 20 acres
if,
in Bell?
yeah, so. At this point, since they submitted the application before that passed, they would have to invoke the AB 130, which they haven't done.
Okay.
We haven't really done the analysis of whether it would be
Short.
applicable. Most likely, it probably would, but the exemption that we're looking at is the infill exemption, categorical infill exemption, so slightly different process, but yeah, I'm not using
Okay.
AB 130.
Are there any other questions or comments about the below market rate housing agreement?
That was interesting.
Yeah. sure. Well,
It's interesting to see how complicated it really is too,
Mhm.
just even as something you would think is simple and
Yeah.
there's just so many aspects to it.
Could entertain a motion.
Yeah. I move that we approve the BMR agreement. Second.
Second by Travis.
Okay, so it looks like we have a motion by Commissioner Crane and a second by Commissioner Chapa to recommend approval to the planning commission of the below market rate housing agreement with 68 Willow Owners LLC for a 50-unit housing development project at 68 Willow Road. I will go ahead and do roll call. Vice Chair Beely,
Yes.
Commissioner Chapa,
Yes.
Commissioner Dumont. Commissioner Crane,
Yes.
Commissioner Ostler,
Yes.
Chair Switzer,
Yes.
and Commissioner Wong.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes 7-0.
Thanks, everybody. We're excited.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, well. Moving along to reports and announcements. We have any individual commissioner updates? Anyone would like to report out on?
Yeah, I completely spaced on this, I probably should do it another time, but I did go to the housing leadership. Day. Is it? Oh, God. So did you.
Yeah,
It's
nice to see you.
really a great opportunity. I thought, and very interesting, one of the presentations I went to was about. Kind of a survey of Santa Clara County and San Mateo County. Residents' attitudes about housing, affordable housing, and, it was just really eye-opening. They did categories of people who supported housing on a scale and from like completely opposed to like advocates and lots of slices in between and what the demographics like, and general attitudes about housing and how there's what struck me was that, there's actually like 62%, of the population, according to this study, is, actually has a good attitude about housing in their neighborhood, new housing in their neighborhood. But the public perception of support for that is below 50%. So it's like the actual support is higher than most people think. And that people tend to moderate their views because they think something's unpopular. And so that's why sometimes it's like kind of a, you know, things aren't as, people don't realize that just the popularity is higher. And so that was really interesting. And I remember the other things about that. That people generally tend to think of the housing situation as kind of hopeless and that we'll never get out of the hole. And they tend to believe negative information about that, if that isn't true versus the like positive things about what's been done, what's being done, how many people have been moved into housing and out of homelessness and all those. It was very, very interesting, just the whole psychological bit. That was came away with some really thought-provoking information about messaging around housing. And that, I don't know why we're biased to think the worst, not the best. Thanks.
Any other updates or announcements?
Well, I have one quick question, and it's kind of maybe it's off topic as well, but I did have, social media is a weird world. But I gotten a message a while back and I didn't know quite how to report it or whatever. Somebody who is on Nextdoor said that they had been told not to be talking about housing. You shouldn't be talking about housing because you're living in a BMR unit by the grace of the city. You shouldn't be having opinions on BMR. And I don't know if that's something that's reportable or should be reportable to the city or. Don't know.
Yeah, not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, they're residing in the unit,
Yeah.
but to say it's like a conflict of interest, if you will.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that. I can look into it and maybe report.
I'm wondering if it was more of a threat than anything. Yeah, I mean, it felt more like a threat than anything else, so.
Yeah, yeah, I don't think it should preclude them from, just because they're in a BMR unit, but
Yeah, if anything,
I will-
I'd be thrilled to hear their
I
perspective.
can double check, but
Yeah.
or those type of comments.
They do come up, yeah.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
So, but I will look into it.
Is it reported from next year?
Oh, I think she did, but I don't, but I think there's a city component to it.
So someone commented on someone's next door post that he.
Yeah, you shouldn't be having an opinion on this because.
Well, I'll look into it, but
Yeah.
it's just a online. There, so, yeah.
Jake, I have a question. I don't know if maybe this student reached out to other people as well, but I did have a student ask for opinions on housing, and I did share a little bit, I mean, very, nothing crazy. Just, if that's something that, happens a lot, people reach out and ask about your housing opinions. No, that's something that we should.
I get occasional questions.
Yeah, I had someone just email me, Cole emailed me a couple times, so I gave them some, there's a student at high school, very kind of semi-generic responses, but, want to be supportive of the student doing the project, but also a little cautious. Yeah.
Understood. I can ask, you can speak as a private citizen.
My personal opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not representative of the housing commission. I think that's the best response. Let me double check,
Okay.
but I think that's.
Yeah, I mean, there were, the one question that was a little interesting was like, would your opinions on housing be different if you didn't work in housing? And I'm like, I don't actually work in housing. So this is my first opinion. So
Yeah, I think as long as you distinguish
it's a
your,
personal opinion.
your comments as a private citizen or resident, yeah. But I'll follow up.
Okay, yeah, sounds good.
And just briefly echoing what Commissioner Dumont had said about the Housing Leadership Day. It's great to kind of see other housing advocates and members, developers in the community, in the county at large. And I attended a breakout session that I thought was pretty applicable to our context here in Menlo Park, and it was the conversion of some commercial buildings and kind of the hurdles that a developer has to, you know, jump through or jump over in order to make it viable, either through mechanical systems, and kind of was a little humorous in some parts of just assuming the worst and that you'll have to replace and gut everything. But I think, you know, considering our downtown area and different corridors in the city, there's quite a few buildings that potentially, whether for lack of tenants, that could be viable housing. So kind of keeping some of that embodied carbon into the existing structure and not doing a full demo. I think is an interesting thing. And if we move along to a report out from our community engagement ad hoc committee, speaking as a member of the ad hoc committee, there's been not too many efforts. So I definitely think that our long-term goal to have an event during the housing month is still on the books. Definitely with some competing priorities, at least I know for myself with my schedule, it's been a little difficult to kind of devote some extra time to that committee. But I definitely think in the coming months, we'll be able to kind of square off some time to potentially work with staff to develop some event. And if we jump ahead maybe to E4, there might be some staff updates and announcements. I don't know if anyone has any future agenda items, but
Sorry, this is more of a procedural question. Do we need to be taking public comment?
no.
No.
Okay, cool. For reports in these sections.
No.
Cool. All right.
Okay, are we on E4 or
Right.
E3, future agenda items? So for next month, we're on schedule for the Housing Commission to review the anti-displacement plan, the draft anti-displacement plan. Have presented to the commission the recommendations, but this is based on your recommendation and council direction, filling in some additional information that's for data driven and a few other things. So based on that direction, the anti-displacement plan is being prepared. So that will be for next December. And as mentioned, we're going to schedule it at the Bellhaven Community Campus. Since all commissions are supposed to meet once a year there. In addition, for the December, we'll chart out the 26th calendar. Just so you can see which dates the Housing Commission will be meeting. So those are the two items for future agenda items. And then in terms of staff or future agenda items, this kind of dovetails with staff updates, but in October, the city council, they did approve the BMR guideline revisions that the Housing Commission reviewed at their October meeting. And as part of that council update, they wanted, so staff had proposed two sets of revisions. These administrative ones that the Housing Commission had reviewed. And then later in the year, when the city gets its Nexus study to do another update at that time to the BMR guidelines. But with the city council, they wanted some updates prior to that. So It looks like we'll be taking additional BMR revisions. They aren't as significant or substantial as what the Nexus study could do, which will examine our percentages. Right now, it's 15%. For 20 units or more, or at 80% AMI. So that's gonna be pretty significant. With the Nexus study, we're gonna be looking at different income levels. Instead of 80% AMI, should it be 65%? Should it be 20% of the units? Will it pencil out like the
Yeah.
So that's what the Nexus study will examine or review. However, before that, the council wanted something in late spring, early summer. Additional revisions, and so we are looking at that. The council specifically said greater notification procedures for BMR tenants. So though we are looking at, you know, putting together potential options for the council's review, those type of things. So that being said, that's a future agenda item for the Housing Commission also. Not sure when that'll be, but just it. Other than that, yeah, the Nexus study, EMR. That concludes staff's updates.
And if I recall, and maybe I'm misspeaking here, but as for back to kind of our word for a community engagement event, there is a reserve space in Bellhaven Community Center.
Yes, we're working towards that. We should have more information about just the size, scope, those type of things. Still kind of formulating that internally. We'll report out.
There's some ongoing efforts.
Yes, yes, definitely working on it, definitely working on it,
Okay.
yeah.
Clarify, so are we talking about next month having a meeting about it?
Yes.
Okay. And I guess related to that, is there any kind of, do we do any kind of different is notification, I just make that, it just seems like folks are probably not used to having a meeting there, so do we do any kind of, you know, additional, yeah, I guess I was thinking about our outreach or engagement in terms of.
I mean, the agenda's posted and noticed, so
Yeah.
there's public notice given, so.
Yes, for example, the Housing Commission, meetings are part of the weekly digest.
Yeah.
So, maybe understanding it's change of location to make that more, that message a little more prominent about the change of location, please. But staff can coordinate with the public information.
And also it would be physically posted at Bellhaven too.
Okay.
Yeah.
People who stop by the facility would be able to see.
In terms of agenda, though, that we wouldn't be, people wouldn't know that the draft anti-displacement plan is gonna be discussed until the agenda officially comes out, right?
I mean, they could be listening to us now in theory, but.
That's only in theory.
Yeah.
Pay attention to meetings, that's right. Okay.
I mean, would it be appropriate to circulate that in some way ahead of the agenda, like that we've discussed this?
Well, there will be different bodies reviewing the plan. The Housing Commission. Right now, it will be the first, it will go to the Planning Commission. Eventually, it will go to the council.
Right.
So while the circulation period
Right.
might be a little shorter for the Housing Commission, the plan
Will be seen by.
will be out in the public for the public review for a lengthy time.
Okay.
So it's just not one and done with the Housing Commission.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then I think exciting news on E5. So
Incredibly exciting,
Yeah.
yeah,
Have a work plan, right?
Yeah, this is just like an administrative item, so every year, the city council, after the city council approved the commission's work plan. They require it to be like officially filed with the city clerk's office, and so in order to do that, we have to place it on the agenda. Kind of let you guys know that it's happening, it's not like a formal item, we don't need like a motion or anything, but just need to add it to the agenda, so. But it's been approved, we're good to go for next year, so. Yeah.
Well, if there's no other comments. I adjourn the meeting at 7:25. Wow.
Thank you all.
I think this might be the first time